What's good with YouTube? You already know. Big Rocker with a comics perspective. You already know what time it's coming directly from the county jail as I smash, dash, slide on through with a whole lot of energy, man. So please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support this channel, and hit that bell notifications for future fire content. So, man, it's been brought to my attention that boxer Enriquez, the well-known boxer Enriquez, right, the one that left the black hand, you guys have seen him in different segments. He's, been all over the place the last couple of years. It was a very high-profile case in California, and his release was really kept under wraps. There's a lot of politics that were involved in it. There was I was even approached at one time by somebody asking me not to respond when he was going through his parole proceedings, man, and I respected that person's request on that, man, and because there was a lot of politics that were going on just to get him out, man, and as we know, he was denied a couple times, but let's get to this reaction about him diving into YouTube. I understand that Gunners from Gunners Collective did a pretty good video as far as his perspective of it, and thinking that, he puts a target on his back and, maybe doesn't agree but gets it, why he may be doing it. And I'm going to take you guys back to about 4 years ago when I was working with stories written by current prisoners. Tony, shouts out to Tony. And we did a reaction video about boxer Enriquez. And I was limited in the information that I had at that time. And I'll be the first to admit, right, there's one thing about YouTube that people need to understand, because sometimes people get critical. You can have a position 4 years ago and it can change today. You can have a position 6 months ago and your position can change. Your view of that content creator or their perspective or their analysis of it, or after proper R&I or investigation, or just a change in judgment, you can change your view of somebody. And, especially today, having a lot more clear mind. And the one thing I said when I first got into YouTube was I wasn't going to be judgmental of other people. I wasn't going to do reactions. I wasn't going to do that kind of stuff, right? And I wasn't doing that at first. I was all about the positive message. But as everybody falls victim to, I fell victim to chasing the views, chasing the bag, and doing video reactions to certain people or whatnot to get those views. And boxer Enriquez was one of those ones about 4 years ago. And I had an issue with it. I had a big issue as far as my reaction to it, because I was going off information that was vague. I didn't have the full R details. And when I broke it down, I broke it down because of his past R allegations and R cases that he's had on his jacket. And I pretty much persecuted him without knowing the back end story of it or knowing the details as far as of what happened. And I left it open when I did my video. But I kind of was more biased based upon the alleged past charges that he has. I didn't leave any wiggle room for, okay, maybe this is what happened. Maybe he was young. Maybe this was a train that went wrong, or maybe there were gangbanging that brought in to jump her into the hood, and she had a change of heart. I didn't look at any of those case factors. I just went out off his conviction. And, and a lot of that, there was a lot of bias there. And I knew that it was going to get the attention. I knew that it was going to get views. And so, like I said, about a year and a half ago, before he got out parole, I kind of changed my view a little bit, because I've learned to get a little bit more details and more information about this man, boxer Enriquez. And he's the first to admit that he's made a lot of bad choices. He's made a lot of poor choices, unhealthy choices in his past. I mean, he was at one time, a Mexican mafia member, a notorious one, a leader within that group. An individual that people feared. He was no joke. One of the main ones that was establishing the territories out there in the streets and pushing taxes. This is who this man was. And he went through a very, very big shift in changing his life. And at times, we still hold people accountable for their past. And the one thing that was always holding me back a lot of times was my natural animosity and my natural bias and my natural, enemy view of the Mexican mafia at one time. And I don't live that life anymore, so it shouldn't affect me today, whether he's anime, whether they're ANS, whatever AB, if that's their path affiliations, it should not bug me, and it doesn't bug me. But some people read into it that way, that I was being biased because of my past affiliation, my past involvement. And it's not even like that. And I never got a chance to really, look into the man or the situation. And like I said, I found out a lot more details in the last few years, And the one thing that I did do, and Boxer, I'm pretty sure Boxer Enriquez knows this because he reached out to a mutual friend that we have, or a mutual associate that we both have, and I reached out to him and my own way apologized for persecuting him without having a backstory, without having any information, and that doing so without letting him defend himself. I'm not one to ever do pass judgment or render judgment or even put a title or label. Even when I was active back in the days, I would do my full R&I, research and investigate, and being a better human being today. And when I first got into this YouTube stuff, I wasn't that person that was going to put any judgment on a man without knowing the details. And I did that. And I apologized for him because I felt that he wasn't in a position to defend himself. And it looked like there was like a personal vendetta almost like that I had, or like there was maybe an issue. And when there isn't one, I hope the man does well. Now, as for his position on YouTube today, what do I think? Well, first and foremost, I think that he's had enough time to sit there and talk to other content creators or people who are behind the scenes and get a feel for what's really going on YouTube. I think he's seen the mistakes that many of us made, and I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made is I put myself out there. I put my name out there. I put my face out there. And the fact that he's just doing narratives, right, where he's just speaking and telling stories from behind the scenes without showing his face, why not? I mean, he's one of the very few individuals who, from Southern California, who was deeply involved as he was in the last, let's say, like 30 years, right, that is on YouTube now. And why not? I don't think it puts a bigger target on his back than what's already there. And people say about him being a target, I guarantee you this, that he's in a state that has no type of wrath or no type of, population of individuals who may be out there looking for him. I guarantee you that he is far and away from the state of California, and he's somewhere safe. And if he doesn't show his face and he does these videos, I think he has a lot that he can actually contribute to the YouTube genre, man, and maybe give us some life again. He's no different than anybody else. I think that he just needs to be worried that what's his intentions behind this. Is it for money? Is it to help other people? What is it? Because everybody has a different reasons why they came onto YouTube. When I first came into YouTube, me personally, it wasn't for the money. It wasn't for the views. It wasn't for none of that. It was to basically try to help people because I was no longer sponsoring man and AA and doing all that work. That helping people through YouTube was something I felt that would be positive, but it's not. There's a lot of toxic stuff that goes behind the scenes when it comes to this YouTube world, man, as we already know. But I think that he will put enough safeguards in front of himself that he's not going to be affected. I mean, there's nothing else that's going to pose a threat to him, I think, immediately. Like I said, this whole, like, in our world, the ones that watch these prison gang genres in California, like the NF and MA in the North and South, right? To us, it's a big population. It's life that we know. But there's a whole 50 states out there that this percentage, the percentage of people that this is their life, it's very, very small, less than 1%. Less than 1% of the United States population are involved in any way in any type of crime, prison gangs, and whatnot. So I think that him being on YouTube, I think he's pretty much safe. I don't think he really has to worry about it. It's not like he's somebody like John Gotti or Pastor 6ix9ine that he's someone that basically is recognized everywhere they go. He's only recognized in this life, this world over here in California, where things like the NF and the MA control the streets. But in places like New York or, Florida or South Carolina, all these different states, Montana, you're not going to have the influence that the NF and MA have in those states like they do in California. So I think him being on YouTube, I think he doesn't have to worry about it. You know, Mundo said a long time ago that, you know, the reason why he doesn't show his face is because of, you know, the people that he now has in his life professionally. And I don't think that Boxer Enriquez is going to come on YouTube and show his face. And I don't think that he's going to be, you know, the one that's going to be flamboyant or all this that people think that he's just doing it for the money. I think if there's money there, he's going to do what he does. Why not? You know what I'm saying? He's entitled to make some money if that's what he feels he can do. You know, but, you know, best of luck to him. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, my views as far as him as an individual, he's made a lot of changes. His biggest advocate is Perry, as we already know, the former head of SSU, has went to lengths to actually help him, you know, basically get out and adjust to society. And I guess he's doing pretty well for himself since he came home. He's been basically a role model for women, you know, which is good for him. You know, and in light of anything that people may feel about his past, there's a lot more to the stuff that's been put out there that people don't always know. But yet, I'm not the man that's there to speak upon it. That's something he can speak for himself if he chooses. There's always been questions about the yard cases and whatnot, you know, and about the one that happened while he was in custody. And what people don't realize, the one that happened in custody, there was two other people who were active at that time who were also basically charged with the same type of charges, from my understanding. Two other people. Now, put that together. If they're active and they're living the same life that he was at the time when he was active, you can put two and two together and see what I'm basically saying there. But that's what I've been told. Anyways, as far as anything else in regards to boxing, like I said, I think it'll be good for YouTube. I think it'll be a change of pace. I think that after a while, a lot of us need something we need to talk about. We need a little bit of a, you know, to get that passion back as far as for the things that we used to do and why we're doing this. I think a lot of people have lost their focus because they're more concerned about getting views, and they're more concerned about, you know, how much money they're getting every month. And people are getting upset because they're not getting the views that were there like 2-3 years ago. Well, you know, if you're not passionate about it and what you're doing, if you're not doing this with positive motives and positive intentions, eventually people are going to see that. And so for any content creator that's out there that's continuing to push, and this hustle as well, right? Always remember this, though. If you're going to put something into it, you got to put your all into it. You got to come from the heart. If you're just here just to get the bag and chase after it, eventually that's going to get exploited. People are going to see it for what it is. And those views are not going to come in like they used to. But if you're doing this because you truly want to help people, that you want a message, or you want to entertain people, for that matter. You know, helping people doesn't always have to be that you're trying to change people from living that lifestyle. Help people, maybe someone that just wants to tune in to hear what you have to say, laugh, and just enjoy something the way you conduct yourself. Hey, if that's people's cup of tea, that's what they like. Hey, so be it. But we got to get back to coming from the heart and what we do, man, and being an inspiration to others, and not always be negative. I've seen more people come into this YouTube prison gang genre, Rasta genre, and become more competitive, more worried about the next man, and, you know, take shots and do this, and fucking people lie, and people do this, they fucking all this double dealing and backstabbing, all this shit that we walked away from that life. A lot of us walked away from that life because of that shit, and just to re-experience it again, you know, in this YouTube world. Just because I'm on a positive track, you know, this is one thing people need to understand. Don't let this military fool you. Just because I'm going to persecute people, or go after people, or attack people, or do any of that stuff, doesn't mean that I don't feel a certain way. You know, a coward's a coward, right? A punk's a punk. And that doesn't change anything. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to pray for individuals to change their way. I'm going to pray for people to be better individuals. You know, I pray for myself to be a better individual. I haven't better man today. I haven't lived up to things that I need to live up to the last few years. You know, I really did a huge snow dive, you know what I mean? And declined as far as my character works, you know? Being a better family man and being a better human being. So, you know, that's what I'm getting at. I hope Boxer Enriquez continues down this. And if he's going to, you know, dabble here and there and get his feet wet, hey, my support towards him, huh? Well, that's it. You look from a comics perspective. I'm out.